Hey, everybody. Welcome to an all new episode of Defending the Windy City with attorney David Drwencke. I'm your host, Mike Leon. As the founding partner of DRD Law, David is known for his intense courtroom presence, his strategic mind, and elite command of evidentiary rules. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about something that crosses over my world and in David's world, which is technology and how it gives DRD Law an edge in and out of the courtroom. This digital discovery tools, secure client communications, and forensic analysis. Tech isn't just a convenience, it's a weapon in the defense playbook. David, so good to see you. Let's start with this high level question here that I have for you, which is what is the role that technology plays in the way you currently are building and managing criminal defense cases?
Well, Mike, thanks for having me. I don't think there's a better topic or a more interesting topic for me to talk about because I'm so passionate about it. Technology is an absolutely core component of how we manage the firm. Quite literally, from the very initial phone call that a prospective client that's looking to have questions answered, starting there all the way through the client journey. If they choose to hire our firm and work with us, that we use technology, we use artificial intelligence, we use the latest and greatest software in order to communicate with our clients, manage files, do legal research, and get a competitive advantage over not just other criminal defense attorneys is a reason why someone should hire our firm, but a distinct competitive advantage over the state's attorney's office, who's the real competitor here. They're the ones on that other side of the V, so to speak. They are the other side. They're the ones who we're trying to beat or get a leg up on. And technology is what gives us one of many advantages we have, but it's a core component of what we do each and every day.
So let's talk about something I mentioned there in the intro, which was these digital discovery tools. How are you currently using them to optimize, review, maybe even challenge the evidence in specifically complex cases?
There's a number of different ways. Now, it can depend on the type of case and what type of discovery we're expecting to get. But generally speaking, on almost every file, I expect to get police reports, general progress reports, which is another subtitle of police reports, body camera evidence, and audio files. I expect to get that on pretty much every file, from the low end, simple misdemeanors, to the most complex homicide cases, gun offenses, drug offenses, and so forth. And things are digital now. We're recording this episode towards the end of 2025, and the reality is things are now sent to us digitally that we will download and then have to upload into a system. And what I think a lot of clients might be surprised by is that how many criminal defense firms will take this digital evidence, download it, print it, put it in a three-ring binder, and their review is the type of review you would have done 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and it is brutally inefficient. It relies on the eyeballs of that one attorney to catch everything, and there are just simply better ways of doing that. Now, it's not to say that we still don't review things and our own eyeballs don't go over police reports and other evidence, but we leverage other tools that can create chronologies, timelines, summaries, can compare documents to one another for inconsistencies, can take audio and video files and synthesize them down into a written form that can then be searched and again be researched utilizing AI. There are so many different things that our firm is capable of doing. And I'm actually proud to say things that we're capable of doing and tools that we're utilizing that I know plenty of other people don't even know exist, let alone are they using. And it makes us more efficient, it makes us more effective, and it gets us better results for our clients because we're utilizing these systems.
So, David, one of the things that I know your firm offers is a client portal. I know what that is, but I would love for you to explain to the audience what that is and how does it help clients stay informed and in control throughout their entire case?
Absolutely. It's one of these pieces of technology that I'm really proud to offer because I think it really improves the client experience. So, a client portal and how we leverage it. After somebody signs up with the firm, they become a client, and perhaps it may be supportive family members who are also included in this. They get invited to download an application, both for Android and iOS. So, we're not leaving anyone out. And that is a direct link to their case. And contained within this client portal are a number of things, not the least of which is an FAQ portal. and that answers those frequently asked questions. And what I jokingly refer to as the Domino's pizza tracker of what phase of the case are we in? Are we at the preliminary exam? Are we waiting for grand jury? Are we about to do the arraignment? Are we in discovery? Preparing motions, so forth. This life cycle of a case, there's different phases for it, and there's different expectations in explaining what is this process? How long will it take? What's involved in this process? That's all a part of the client portal. It also is a centralized location so that, again, family members who are invited or friends or the client themselves have a direct way to communicate with their legal team. So they don't have to worry about having 2 or 3 phone numbers or calling into reception or emailing and having this fractured communication where, well, I talked to this associate that day and I saw this person in court on another day and the receptionist told me something else. It's centralized. There is one stream of communication. So you can upload files, get updates from us. You can also check when is your next court date. That's another one of those most common questions that we get is, oh, I didn't write this down. What time is court? Where am I going? Because there are sometimes files that will actually go from one courthouse to another if we're involved early enough. So knowing where you have to be, when you have to be there is all a part of this client portal that answers questions, provides basic information like your next court date, centralizes communication, all to improve that client experience while going through this oftentimes scary and anxiety inducing process.
David, you mentioned the opponent being the prosecution before. Can you walk us through a situation, maybe a client example, something recent in the past where using this technology helped you uncover something that maybe the prosecution missed or they misrepresented?
Oh boy, there's a number of examples, both quick things and then longer term things. And what do I mean by that? Oftentimes in Cook County, it is not unheard of for the state's attorney to just kind of drop something on you, especially as you're heading towards trial. The state's trying to check boxes, making sure that they've provided all the discovery or they file a last minute motion the night before trial and so forth. And we know the judge is not going to give us more time. It's set for trial. Yes, there's some hand waving to this was a little late in the process state, but defense, let's get yourself prepared. So that's responding to last minute motions. And we utilize technology that I can actually feed the state's motion into a system that will extract out all of the case law, verify the citations, verify the quotes that they use to make sure that this is good law and it hasn't been overturned. Look for cases that may rebut some of the law that the state is citing to check if that site is misquoted, because that happens a lot more than you may think. And that can oftentimes be very embarrassing to the state to point out that, you're relying on this case, but you didn't even cite it correctly, and then have alternative arguments. It's one of my favorite tools because, of course, I've been doing this for a long time. Do I know the typical things the state tries to pull, the wool over our eyes or the rug out from underneath us at the last minute? Absolutely. It's the point of having someone who's trained and seasoned, has done this a long time. But now I get to leverage a technology that can consider all possibilities and will give me alternative arguments on top of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head in this short moment. So that's one tool we use. The other that I think is absolutely mind-blowing in how cool it is and how fast it works is that discovery review, that I can check for inconsistencies and see inconsistent statements across documents, meaning the state can dump 10,000 pages on me today. I can feed that into my system, and within moments, we're not talking hours, we're not talking days, and certainly not weeks or months, I can check and see inconsistent statements and compare, page 3 to page 3,000 and see where there are these inconsistencies in witness statements between the same witness or other witnesses. I can see when people have given inconsistent descriptions, and the system extracts this out for me, cites to the document, and I have that from the very beginning. So as I'm starting to build a trial strategy, I can know things that the state might never catch because when you're piecemealing reviewing 10,000 pages of documents, you may not always catch what's on page 3 and page 3,000, but this system can. So that allows us to prepare for trial. The second we're receiving discovery, we're prepared to start doing things like that to attack a witness. So things that happen very fast, and then things that sometimes could be more of a slow burn, our systems give us an advantage that I know for an absolute fact the state's attorney doesn't even have access to.
So let me ask you, because you're working with clients that a lot of the times, most of the times maybe, are under intense legal stress. What are you hearing from them about how important it is to have this digital transparency and this secure communication?
They love it, is that really is the short answer. And it's because these cases, and I understand why, it's all consuming. It's a 101. They go to bed thinking about it, they wake up thinking about it more often than not, and they want updates. And now sometimes those updates don't come as frequently or as quickly as a client would like, but we can expedite that process as much as we possibly can. Meaning, it's one thing to say, hey, the state sent us something, we've received discovery. Great. Now the client wants to know, well, what is it? What does it say? Is it good or is it bad? What does it all mean? What are we still waiting for? Well, being able to leverage the tools that we have, well, we can go from we've received things to we've done at least an initial review within moments. And that's not a joke. I can download, upload, get a general summary, chronology, snippets, kind of high level review done within minutes. And then that's something that we can share with the client and say, hey, this isn't a complete review. We're not completely done, but we can tell you we've reviewed this. We'll start with we've received this. We've done an initial review. Here's generally what it's telling us. And then we can say, well, we're still waiting on A, B, and C. So from comparing that to the old days where we'd have to wait for something to come in the mail, receive it, then catalog it, organize it, review it with our own eyes, highlight things, jot down some notes, maybe type things up, maybe dictate things, and then eventually days, weeks, I mean, and no joke, it actually could be months of review, then eventually say, hey, client, we know we received things a couple of days, weeks, months ago. Now I can tell you what was finally in there. In the meantime, you're having nightmares and can't sleep at night because you want to know what's going on with your case. We can make that exponentially faster. I mean, infinitely faster. And then again, do so in a secure way where we're not breaking attorney-client privilege. We can share things and do screen shares, and we can chop up video or photographs and show the kind of call it the greatest hits or the most important evidence. So here's what really matters. Here's the key bit of this video. Here's the key bit of this interview. Here's the most interesting or most important portions of a DNA or a gunshot residue test or a ballistics report. And we can show that to a client immediately and give them an update immediately in a secure way. So clients know that, A, we're working on their case and we eliminate that downtime and that waiting time.
Yeah. David, what about inside the courtroom? Let's talk about some of the ways you guys are using technology potentially to visually present, whether it be an argument with respect to like a timeline, surveillance analysis. Are there any data visualization things that you guys do? How are you using that?
A lot of times this may surprise people. We are very digitally advanced. We use a lot of technology in our review and legal analysis, research, preparation. Typically, we don't do a great deal of things inside the courtroom with this, except with smoking gun examples. And what I mean by that is if we know we're really queuing up or teeing up a witness to impeach them, we expect them to lie about something, or we realize they've lied about something during a trial. Well, we have the tools to quickly, easily, within a matter of moments, pull out a video, perhaps where they've already been interviewed and given a statement, and we know where they've lied, where they've changed their statement. We can pull up that very question and answer, snip just that, and have the video and audio immediately available to impeach them. And that's a piece of technology, again, that very few people even know exists, let alone have access to. Typically, a defense attorney, a public defender, or pretty much every private attorney I can think of, they'll know there's impeachment somewhere within an interview. They'll know that this witness has changed their story, and then they're hunting and pecking, and they're trying to queue up that very moment of the video, and there's all this downtime, and it's kind of embarrassing as they're waiting and fumbling around with things. We have a very intuitive, very sleek process where we can show that video and then actually also show the transcript from that. So if there's any kind of question about what they said, or can we hear it? Is it muffled? Is it echoing? It may not be the world's greatest quality. Here it is. This is how they said it, what they looked like, and here's exactly what they said. And that's one of those tools that we have at our disposal when we need to do that. Otherwise, we're not really big on PowerPoints. We don't do that. We will use blow-ups when necessary when it comes to photographic evidence, if that's something we need to do. Timelines are something that we're very large on, and our tools do an unbelievable job of creating a timeline about everything. I mean, starting sometimes with the date of birth with our client, and then everything that has ever occurred in their background through the incident itself, second by second, minute by minute, and hour by hour, where we can show when it's an alibi defense or just an impossibility type of defense, we have access to all of that. And it goes back to our tools that allow us to create these things effectively at a moment's notice and instantly without having to waste time.
David, how do you balance this line of using the cutting edge tools with also the personal connection part that your clients need? Because I think a lot of times people think, well, it's just a high tech firm, it's impersonal. How do you balance that line?
Great question. I mean, there's two parts about being personal, and then, of course, wanting to make sure that these tools are working the way that they're supposed to. There are some horror stories out there of an over reliance on brand new tools and not verifying things. So the first part about being personal, we always encourage our clients to reach out to us. We will pick up the phone. We do Zoom meetings. We'll meet in person, especially when that's really appropriate to go deep dive on a file or to interview or prep a client for testimony and so forth. But it's 2025. Most of our clients want to email and to text us, but they know that that option always exists, that you can book another meeting with their legal team effectively 24 hours a day and get within a day or less, be able to get a turnaround time and talk to your attorney or a part of the legal team. So while technology is such a core component, it's something that I just personally love because I can see the value in it and the competitive advantage it gives. We're never going to eliminate the fact that we're dealing with real people. Your attorneys are real people. And what we present at court when we're making an oral argument before a judge, if we're making an opening statement or a closing argument before a jury panel, they're people. So our communication skills still need to be there. Our persuasion skills need to be there. These tools just allow us to be prepared in a way that you never could have before, and in a time or time frame that you never could have before. So we'll never get away with that personal touch of realizing we're dealing with very sensitive topics, people at their lowest moment, and that sometimes you do just need to hear someone's voice. That's always available to our clients.
David, for somebody that's listening to this, they're thinking about hiring a defense attorney today. What are some questions that they should be asking in terms of how a firm uses technology to protect their rights?
I think there's a number of questions you can ask, and it starts with basic things like, well, how do you keep track of your files? What's your practice management tool? And you might catch a lot of attorneys without an answer, that they may say, well, we print things off and we'll create a file for you, and they're in 3-ring binders or manila folders and so forth. Others may say, well, we're pretty digital. We put everything into a digital file on our computers, and we have a server at the office. That's what I think you're going to find most attorneys would answer that way. Well, we actually have practice management software that is designed for legal practice. It is designed to organize digital files. And what's really cool about it is not only is it designed exactly for this purpose, to be a repository of digital evidence, paperwork, PDFs, Word documents, but also video files, audio files, photographs, and that's all organized. It's all searchable, but it's all organized there. Our motions, our written correspondence, our emails, our client communications, are all centralized into this practice management tool. So that would be one question to ask. The next would be, hey, are you leveraging AI, and how so? I would believe that most of my direct competitors, those others that are, or colleagues, you don't want to think of them as competitors, but in this legal space, if you're considering other attorneys, well, they may say, oh yeah, I run some stuff through Chat GPT or the equivalent Gemini, Claude, and so forth. It's like, well, okay, well, that's not really legal AI. Do you use anything for legal research or to analyze legal documents or to draft and so forth? And again, I think you may be surprised that the answer is, no, I don't really know that much about it, or it's too expensive, or they just haven't taken the time to invest in this. I think it's twofold: being afraid of it because the legal profession is not quick to adopt a lot of technology, and we saw that during COVID. But then it's also that a lot of these tools cost money. And you'll find that firms don't want to invest in that or can't invest in it. And that is one of the foundational cores is, yes, our clients deserve to have the best tools, the best technology, because they are expecting the best result. How do we do that? Different technology for how we manage the firm, how we do our job in legal review and legal research. They can expect to get that from us. And those are the types of questions you can ask other firms. And I think you would be very, very surprised as to how unprepared, how unsophisticated, how not technologically advanced most of the firms are.
David, thank you for the time and insights on this topic. We truly appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it. I love talking about this stuff.
And thank you to everybody out there listening to another installment of Defending the Windy City with David Drwencke. When you're up against the power of the state, let me tell you something. Precision matters, and having a defense team that knows how to leverage the technology, like you just heard David describe, could be the difference between conviction or freedom. Do me a favor right now, visit drdlawllc.com to connect with DRD Law and David and the whole team over there. And also do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, share this episode with somebody that needs to hear it. As always, I'm Mike Leon. We'll see everybody next time.